Spike, Twilight called a few hours later, finally a good distance into her book. Can you bring me that book I had yesterday? Mountain Valley's Geographic Guide to Equestria? Spike, who was sweeping the library, paused from his work and glanced in Twilight's direction. Didn't you have it with you yesterday? Twilight looked up from her book, deciding to stare at the ceiling as she tried to think back. Well, I didn't think, but maybe. No, wait. I did have it. I put it in my saddlebags so I could have it when I read this book at the park. But then I realized I had left this book here. The unicorn began to point her hoof at different spots in the air, mentally retracing her steps. I think I said treps there. So I came back, but then Pinkie Pie grabbed me to help decorate for her party, and that took all afternoon. So the book was still in my saddlebags when I went to the party, and then I left the party to come back here, and then I got pony napped. Or, actually, she didn't say fully pony napped, she just said pony nap. Twilight quickly twisted her head round as her eyes darted about the library. The unicorn jumped to her hooves, galloping around the room in a panic, while rummaging through her drawers and checking every nook and cranny she could find. Spike ended up being the one to stop Twilight's panic by jumping in front of her when she was trying to turn and gallop in another direction. Whoa, easy, Twilight. What's wrong? My saddlebags. Where are they? How should I know? The baby dragon asked with a shrug. Oh, no, Twilight rattled off, shaking her head from side to side. I had my saddlebags with me when I was pony napped, and that means that either those cult ponies took them, or I lost them somewhere along the way. No. I can replace the copy of Geographic Guide to Equestria, but I had books in that bag Princess Celestia loaned me from the Royal Library. I can't lose those books. No. Spike grabbed the sides of the panicking unicorn's head and brought her eyes to his. Twilight, breathe and think. Can't you just use your locator spell? Twilight paused for a moment, but then a smile of relief burst onto her face as she closed her eyes and focused, her horns starting to shimmer and blinking. Usually it's just like a solid glow and then blinking. Saddlebag frowned. Sounds strange to me. The locator spell was a charm Twilight put on her saddlebags after leaving them in the library one too many times. It would allow her to find her bags based on similar magical principles. That it's coming out weird, but whatever. To the spell rarities to find gems. Twilight's spell, however, had a wider range and was more accurate since it was focused on finding a single magically marked item, namely her saddlebags. Twilight waved her head around, crossing her eyes as she watched her horn flash at different rates. Beep, 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 beep. So it's kind of like a Geiger counter, just with flashing instead of beeps. Wow. And eventually found the direction where the flashing was the fastest. The spell was pointing to a window, beyond which Twilight could see the ever-free forest. Great. That's just great. My bags are in the forest, Twilight grumbled. If it was just a normal bag of books, she would have probably left them, considering the dangers involved going into the ever-free forest, including quite a few things, like I don't know, cultists, perhaps. Twilight, however, couldn't keep herself from thinking about how Princess Celestia herself had loaned her some of those books. Even if the Everfree Forest was dangerous, disappointing the president, really? Princess! Roughly the same thing, right? Princess, president, they're both kinda like, you know, wimps. Anyways, disappointing the princess was worse, at least in Twilight's mind. After a few seconds of internal debate, Twilight began to trot towards the door, only for Spike to quickly cut her off. Nah, no way, Twi. Princess Celestia would have my scales. She found out I let you go back into the Everfree Forest the day after you were pony napped. Well then, she just won't find out, Twilight replied, levitating Spike out of the way only for him to run back into her path. But what if those crazy ponies are still in the forest? Do you want to get pony napped again? Princess Celestia's guards scoured the forest last night with Zecora's help. I doubt that any of those ponies are still there, Twilight rationalized. Besides, I need to get those books back. They're irreplaceable, and I need you to stay here in case some pony comes and needs to check out a book. This is a library, after all, and we can't just close it whenever we want. Spike was not convinced, crossing his arms and eyeing the unicorn. I still don't like it, Twilight. Can't you find some pony to go with you? Every pony else is busy, especially after they already came by to see me. Besides, I've been to the Everfree Forest before. Spike, I know how to keep myself out of trouble. Yeah, like with having to deal with Manticore and the cockatrices. I'm sure everything will be fine. There's nothing dangerous out there or anything. Yep. Nope. Nothing dangerous at all. Of course, she goes to Zecora's on a regular basis, so I guess she's used to going into it. And only a small percentage of the time does she actually run into something. Says the pony that turned to stone by a cockatrice, Spike pointed out. Twilight smiled weakly. I'll admit that wasn't one of my better moments. Still, if I'm not back in 3 hours, then you can tell the princess that I left. You can even say that I put you to sleep with a sedation spell so you couldn't stop me. How about you put him to sleep for real with a sedation spell? Then he can't stop you. Twilight, I don't want you to go because I think it's dangerous, not because I don't want to get in trouble. Spike, I promise everything will be fine. Which means the unicorn reassured as she walked around Spike and continued towards the door. Now, just keep doing your chores and I'll be back before you know it. She glanced at the clock. It's just after 3, so if I'm not back by a little after 6 in the afternoon, then you can tell the princess. I just strolled off there. Okay, back to then. Then you could tell Princess Celestia. But I promise I'll be back before then. So she has to try and be back before 6. Otherwise, no dinner for her. Now, it has equal signs for a scene change. Yeah, I'll be back in a moment.